I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we are talking about a phenomenal book. It is called Growth. It is written by Russ Haddad under the pen name A. Winston. He's inviting readers on a poetic journey through his life, exploring personal growth, love, loss, and the passage of time. The collection of poems encapsulates Haddad's experiences from the tragic loss of his father at a young age to rediscovering his passion for writing during the COVID-19 pandemic. By sharing his innermost thoughts and feelings, this writer hopes to inspire others to embrace their own growth and courageously express themselves. We're delighted to have Russ in the spotlight today. Thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping put him in the spotlight today, and ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. Russ, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Logan, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine, my friend. This is an incredible book. It's a collection of poems that are very honest, that are very heartfelt, that are very moving. Tell me what it was like taking this journey by writing this.
Really, the journey started accidentally. You know, I was in high school writing for the school newspaper. I was a very shy, bashful kid. And somebody kind of just threw out there. So I had a hard time interviewing people for the school newspaper. And somebody decided, you know, hey, why don't you write a poem for the Valentine's Day publication? So I did that, and it kind of unleashed something. You know, it gave me a release. I really kind of started writing from that point on, and had something in each edition from there. But it was really starting with, as you mentioned, my father passed away when I was 12, and I didn't realize he needed an outlet, but that's what it truly became. So really, through every experience, you know, and really these are everyday life experiences and situations through, you know, just getting through the teenage angst of high school, then learning and maturing, you know, into college, and then marriage, and, you know, divorce, and then having children, and, you know, remarriage, all this kind of stuff. And then all the different changes in life experiences from professional development and things like that. So it was kind of ups and downs in life. And that's kind of allowed me to, once I started putting stuff on paper, it really kind of became therapeutic in a lot of ways.
So much of what you're talking about rings true with me. You know, the loss of my father, being shy as a young person, the trials and tribulations of marriage, divorce, remarriage, all of that stuff. And I think that's why your book really connects with readers, is because you've lived a life, and it's connects with them on a level where they feel your pain at times, they feel your joy at times, you know. And I think sensitive people tend to be shy. I was extremely shy. I remember my public speaking classes, I would literally shake. I couldn't hold my paper. I'd be red in the face, all of that stuff.
I know that feeling. Yes, I was the same way.
Yeah, you can't breathe. Your heart's pounding out of your chest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you overcame that. You found an outlet. For me, it was acting. For you, it was writing. Losing your dad at 12 years old, I would think would have to be the worst age possible, because you're aware of him, you're aware of the permanency of death, but you haven't really been able to had the time with him to forge the relationship that you would have liked to have had.
I think that's totally true. But the thing is, Logan, I didn't realize that. Really, from when he died when I was 12 to 16, I didn't like express. I mean, at the funeral, I was, I guess, shocked and maybe too young. I didn't cry. I didn't, you know, have an outpouring of real emotion. And then, you know, when 16, when I started writing this poetry, that's when it started permeating my consciousness that, you know, there was a real loss there. And that's where it started really coming out. But it really has defined a lot of things that I've had in my life. My mother, you know, did a great job raising me and my three other siblings. You know, I'm the youngest of four, and but, you know, she worked hard and everything like that, and she made up for you know, as much as she could. You know, she never remarried or anything like that. But, you know, you really kind of, that losing a father, and, you know, I look back at our relationship, you know, with my father, and maybe I didn't have like the closest relationship, but we had one really great bond, and that was sports. I grew up in Massachusetts, so it was, the Red Sox, the Patriots, the Celtics, and the Bruins, and that's how we related on that level. So, he was very involved. I was just coming out of Little League baseball when he passed away, so there was a lot of that was all kind of coming rushing back, and that's where I started putting words on paper. I discovered how much of a difference, and now as my son, it shows me how tight of a bond I wanted to have with him. And that comes out too in the writing, that I wanted to have that connection, a greater connection, because I didn't have that, for that long in my father's life.
Exactly. It's nice you have those connections through sports. I'm sure every time you see a ball game being played at Fenway, for example, you think of him. Those are the good connections in life. I have the same kind of inner dialogue with my dad all the time as well, thinking about the things that he loved, whether it's music or whether it's sports. Tell me what it was like when you stumbled upon your old writings during the pandemic.
Oh, geez. It was kind of surreal, honestly. The good thing about the pandemic is that it allowed everybody to kind of stop and just kind of pause and just look at things a little bit more. So I had all these writings kind of spread out, and I had time to organize them. When I saw the span of time and just the amount of writings I had, and some was finished, some were finished, some were unfinished, and I couldn't believe I had as much as I did, because even over the years, over almost 40 years, I'm from 16 to I guess about 50 years old. I'd been putting stuff on paper, but there were gaps. There were gaps in between, so I wasn't really paying attention to how much I had written. So when I kind of realized the breadth of what I had written, I was like, "Oh, geez, let's look at these. Let's polish them up a little bit." And then kind of put them in different piles, because I kind of spread it out into kind of 3 stages of my life. First, I called immaturity, which is kind of the goofy teenage years into college and things like that. And then maturing, which was kind of the beginning of my professional life and marriage and having children. And then continued maturity kind of sets the stage of my life after divorce and custody issues with children, and then the various transformations in the professional life, and then remarriage. So and that span of time, I was able to really kind of then say, hey, I've been through some stuff in life. Maybe this is an opportunity. Again, I just consider myself a regular person. Right. So maybe if I shared them with people, maybe they somehow can see themselves in some of these things and really relate and help them cope with certain things. So it was really a big step. Again, that the shyness thing kind of is always kind of there for me. So putting it out on paper and getting it published, and it really was a big step for me. But it was also a point where I got all this out. Now I can go on to the next phase. So that was the big push, is to really more self-satisfaction, I guess, to just get it out there. But also hopefully, thinking that other people could relate and understand that maybe that some of the things I went through, they've gone through, and they can help.
Absolutely. You're lucky you had all these writings. I mean, I've written lots of stuff over the years. I have nothing. I mean, because I moved so many different places, so many different homes, so many different apartments, over the years, you just lose stuff. So were these in journals? Were these in marble covered notebooks? What was
so I did have a journal. I had, just notepads of things, little scraps of paper. And believe me, I don't understand how I kept hold of some of this stuff. Yeah. I guess there's a little bit of a pack rat in me as well. But I would just, from the moving, really from high school into college and other times in life, it was just the one. I just kept them together and pulled them aside, and always carried them with me. And I guess maybe somewhere deep down, I always thought I was going to do something with them. Wasn't exactly sure, obviously, but I just carried them with them and carried them forward. And then again, COVID just allowed me to say to stop, review kind of what I had done, and then apply it in a different way, and then express myself, put it out there.
Absolutely. I love the name, the title of the book, Growth. Tell us how you chose that.
So it really is about, when I look back at all the writings and everything like that, I really realized I had been through various things in life, in various stages. Going back to the three stages of my life, what I call immaturity, maturing, and continued maturity. It was really about, I guess everybody goes through stages in life. So and I categorized it as just like, so from my teenage years through college, that was, I really thought that was a certain segment. Then kind of you grow a little bit more, different changes and experiences, and you interact with different types of people. You learn more things. So that's where maturing kind of came in, as well as, both good and bad experiences. They all kind of come into play. And then continued maturity is just kind of one of those things where, you're again continuing to learn, but you maybe become a little bit more jaded, I guess, in your thinking, a little bit more skeptical of things. So it's kind of a span of, kind of the naive me, back in, college and though that era, really kind of idealistic, to just kind of being a little bit more experiencing kind of the ways of life, sort of a thing. So really it was very, that's really what it was all about. It was really kind of breaking things up into, I really just noticed that I had gone through all these changes, but they really were about periods of time in my life.
It's easy to get jaded after you've been through a divorce and a custody battle. And that is the most grueling, punishing, heart-wrenching event that a person can endure other than a death. And in fact, in some ways, it's worse than a death because it's ongoing, and the threat of losing your children is omnipresent.
Absolutely.
So I feel your pain there as well.
And really was the poetry was really a way that kind of helped me get through a lot of that, and actually helped me kind of feel better about getting through that relationship of, you always feel like you've been been kind of wronged and everything like that through that sort of thing. But I realized that it was two to tango. We both had issues, my ex-wife and I. So but that helped me get through, understand her side a little bit more as well as my side. But also the children part is kind of how it affected them. So it really kind of allowed me to kind of think through that whole process. And I hope I'm in a better place with that. But also it's a reflection of how I've gotten through dealt with other situations, conflict, or whatever it may be. But it helped. The writing actually helped me grow up to a certain degree.
Yeah. What do you hope readers take away from the book?
The main thing really is I hope, and I know these, I'm not going to say any of these poems are, it's just not me to say they're epic masterpieces or anything like that, but they are raw and genuine. So I really hope they can relate to see in what's happened in my life, see that they've had similar sorts of situations and experiences in their lives, that but know that you can kind of keep going, you can carry on. Things kind of move forward, always moving forward. I'm kind of a person who's always kind of looking ahead. I don't dwell too much on the past, but I kind of try to take wisdom from the past, and learn from it. So I guess that's really kind of what I hope people take away from the book.
Absolutely. Life is a redemption story. I mean, that's true in your writing. That's true in the Bible. It's true throughout time. I mean, we're all going to fall. We're all going to have to pick ourselves up again. And we're going to have to keep on going and keep on growing. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Now that you've published, this is your first published book, correct?
Yes, correct.
Are you toying with anything else?
So it's really kind of interesting that, ever since it's almost like I've gotten a second wind since publishing the book. But but yeah, I've got new material, working on new material. They're really kind of observations of our current times and our relationships and kind of how, as a society, we interact. So there's some, and everything from politics to media to just general everyday life. But yeah, there's some anger in there. There's some frustration, some dealing with mortality, because I've had some additional loss from in-laws and some other close people in life. But as a 53-year-old, almost 54-year-old man, kind of that lens. But it's about more current times and kind of where we're going. It's kind of a more edgier stuff, probably. But that's where, with growth, it allowed me to kind of have a delineation point where I can move forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a terrific book. It is called Growth. It is written by A.A. Winston, which is Russ's pen name. It's available on Amazon. Just Google Growth A.A. Winston. You'll find it. There'll be links below this interview as well. It is a terrific exploration of human growth, of personal growth, of love and loss, and the passage of time. It is a collection of poems that will touch your heart and you'll find extremely relatable. Russ, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan.
The pleasure is mine, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time. This time, until next time on Spotlight.